What is up, flockers? That is my fellow lockers and aspiring lockers. Have you ever wondered how to put lock extensions in, whether it be micro locks or traditional locks? Well, stick around because I'm going to show you. All right, so a little backstory. I have had multiple sets of locks. This is probably my 5th or 6th lock journey. I know those of you who watch all of my videos are probably tired of me saying that, but to give you context, I have had about 2 lock journeys where I did lock extensions. I made the lock extensions myself and I attached them myself. And so I thought today it would be interesting to show you how to attach the lock extensions. I have also started other people's locks besides my own. I started 2 people's locks when I was overseas, my friend Obed and my friend Gucci, and they still have their locks into this day. One of them, Obed, has taken his locks out and started a new lock journey since then, after he had them in for several years, and Gucci still has his lock extensions into this day. So the story begins for the time over Christmas break from 2021. One of my friends, who she herself is a hairstylist, but she is white, so let's just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. She has no experience with dreadlocks and has no idea how to do them. And she knows that I have done my own hair for the longest time. And she also knows that I have started other people's locks. And so she loves to play with color and to play with different styles. And so she just asked me if I would do some lock extensions while I was over at her house during the Christmas break. And that way, you know, while you see the clips from the video, why there's a Christmas tree, why Home Alone 2 was playing in the background, that is the reason why all of that stuff is going on, is because this footage was shot back in December, but I am just now putting it out because I honestly forgot that I had it. And yeah, so now I'm tying it into my content. But yeah, like I said, my friend wanted to try out lock extensions as just a fun new style to do. If you are of the mindset that someone who wears locks who is not black is appropriate in the culture, then okay, that is your opinion and you are more than entitled to it. I personally am not offended when I see a white person with locks. I'm not offended when I see people who have lock extensions, whether they be black, white, or whatever. And I'm not offended when somebody chooses to do a different lock journey than myself, because I believe that everyone else's journey is their journey, whether it is for spiritual purposes, for aesthetic purposes, for years and years to come, or if they just want to do it for a look, because everyone has the freedom to do what they want to do with their hair. And if it's not physically or emotionally, if it's not harming you, I don't know why people have such a strong opinion about what's going on with someone else's head that you will probably never ever meet, probably never ever talk to or have any interactions with. So it's just weird to me. Anyways, now that we've got all that out the way, I will go ahead and show you what I'm doing. The video is obviously sped up, but the technique is going to be the exact same that I'm going to show you now. I am enlisting the help of none other than Jury. Y'all that have seen a couple of my other videos, a little older, know Jury. She has been a guest star on this channel before. So yeah, I think one thing that is important to note, that when you do make your lock extensions, you want to try and get them as close to the size of your current locks that you have in your head if you are going to be extending locks that are already locks. Now with Sana, she did not have locks. She had bone straight hair when I did it, but that just goes to show that you can do lock extensions whether you have kinky coily hair or whether you have straight hair with the method that I'm going to show you. But if you are going to do lock extensions on locks that already exist or starter locks, you want to make sure that they are about the same thickness as the locks that you have. Obviously, any type of extra weight is going to be weighing down and pulling on them and can cause thinning and stuff like that. So do I recommend lock extensions? Yes and no. If it's something that you want to do, go for it. I've done it multiple times, never had any hair issues, but each head of hair is different. So what happened with my head doesn't necessarily mean that that's what would happen with your head. So from what I can tell, I mean, not looking at the bottom because those are obviously thinner, but up at the top, it's about the same size in terms of whatnot. But I obviously have different size locks throughout my head. So if you were making them or having someone make them for you, you do want to try to achieve a lock extension that is around the same size as the locks that you have. The hair, Afro kinky hair, comes in different colors. The hair that was used on Sana, she found those locks on Amazon. They were already colored. They were made of wool, I believe. And so it's not even, this is actual Afro kinky human hair. Hers were not. Hers were completely synthetic and artificial. This is real hair. And so you can keep this in as many years as you want to and wash it and let it grow with your locks, or you can put it in temporarily. I had a lock journey where I grew my hair out for 6 months, long enough so that I could put in lock extensions. And then I had the lock extensions in for several months while my hair grew to a certain length that I felt comfortable rocking it in its natural state when it wasn't just a short, tiny afro. So let's get Jury in here. We have an instant lock that I started on her hair before in another lock video. All right, so we've got her instant lock and I'm going to attach it to that. Normally I would stand to show you this, but I'm not trying to readjust the camera and all that jazz. And so what I would do, and this is what I did with Sana, the only difference is Sana's hair was straight at the end. So it's pretty much gonna be the same thing. But when you have your lock extension, you have some hair at the end of it that is loose. And that hair I simply take and I kind of sort of wrap it around as if like, so on one side I have the Afro kinky hair, then you have the hair that you're attaching it to in the middle, and then on the other side you have the Afro kinky hair, so that you were kind of doing a braid, but you're not braiding it. So the hair is like that. And then I go in with this one's 0.75 millimeter, but I also have one that has 3 of them instead of just the 2-prong. You use different ones depending on what you like, your preference, and what you're trying to do. All right, and then while we're in there, we are going to take the needle through, and this is what I did all over Sana's head. It's hard to see in the video from afar, but this is what I did. And as I'm doing it, I turn the hair in my hand, so that way I make sure to pull hairs in from all different angles. I am sticking the needle through and pulling it back through, forward and back, up and down diagonally, to make sure that, like I said, I'm attaching and getting as many hairs in there as possible so that I can get a nice tight hold. All right, and depending on how kinky and coarse your hair is can make it for, you know, whether or not you're going to have a tighter hold, or when your hair is super straight like Sana's is, if she wanted to leave them in permanently, then I would have to make sure that I went in very meticulously to make sure that her hair wasn't going to come loose from these things. When your hair is kinkier, it's not, you don't have to do as much, just because when you're pretty much locking the hair, you're pretty much creating an instant lock, and so it just doesn't require as much of this instant locking when your hair is kinkier and coilier. Sorry y'all, it's kind of hard for me to try to talk and explain while doing it, but I think you get the gist. Like I said, I'm rotating it in my fingers as I'm doing it, and I'm going through back and forth in different directions to get it nice and tight. All right, and then I would finish it off with the good old roll. And there you have it. So now we have our lock attached, and it's in there, look. So yes, this is the method that I used on Sana for her temporary lock extensions. This is the method that I used on both Obed and Gucci for theirs. Theirs were permanent lock extensions. Obed's, like I said, he kept his in for several years before he took out that set of locks and then just like me, you take out a set of locks and then 6 months later you decide you want them back. He did the same thing. And then Gucci has had his in now for, wow, probably going on 7 or 8 years since I started Gucci's locks. So, like I said, when it's human hair, you can leave it in. You can wash your hair normally like you would wash your regular hair. Do everything that you would do to your regular hair. Now, do you need to put oil on it if you're putting oil on your other hair? No, because it's not growing from your scalp. It's not the same in that sense. So you don't need to deep condition or add oil unless you want to soften it up. But again, you have to be careful because if you're putting too much stuff on it, you could possibly loosen up the work that you did, and then you end up having slippage, which you don't want to have slippage. This method, as opposed to the wrap method with lock extensions, is going to be a lot more secure, but still, it is possible to lose lock extensions when you do the crochet method if you are not crocheting it well, and if the hair loosens up over time, if it wasn't installed well and properly in the beginning. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button so I know what type of content you enjoy, and make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can join the flock. While you're here, stick around and check out a couple of my other videos that are up on this channel. I will see you there.